Jacksonville Jaguars, still present, ready. Farrah doesn't flinch. Now, Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, and Tom McManus. This is
Helmets and Heels.
Helmets and Heels on 1010XL.
It is 2 o'clock on a Friday, and y'all, this is how quickly we acclimate to the cold weather. This morning, I woke up to walk the dog. It was around 40 degrees, and I was like, oh, it's warm.
Yeah.
I did the same thing when I walked out today. I was like, I walked into work, and I was like, it's kind of hot out there today.
Right now, it's mid-60s.
know.
Like,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
beautiful
crazy
out.
when you're used to 70s and above.
Yeah.
And then we get the cold front, and at first, those first couple days, like, oh my goodness, and mornings. And then today, like, oh, it's beautiful.
It's great out here.
I'm like, am I from the north now
Yeah.
that I think 40 is beautiful?
Yeah, your blood thins. It's got to. You know, I think mine has for sure. But once that sun pops out, it's awesome.
I love
You
a
know?
Friday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what, it's funny because you see people Northerners when they come down and they'll just have like my family are Northerners,
I
but
know,
they're
same.
Midwesterners.
Yeah.
They will come, like my uncle would not. I mean, short sleeve and shorts all the time, unless it was like under 30, and then maybe he'll throw on like a hoodie or something like that. And so he was up there pretty much the majority of his life. The few years he moved down to Florida, I remember it would be like 45 and he'd be walking around in just like a t-shirt and shorts, and people would be like, you're insane. And he was like, it feels great outside.
Yeah, compared to Chicago for
Yeah.
sure.
But then can they handle the
heat?
98-degree heat in the summer?
That's why he went back.
And I can certainly understand that. All right, so on this wonderful Friday morning, I spent some time, now I know it's afternoon, but this morning I spent some time digging into what I'm going to term the new chip for college football. So we've talked at length about the blue chip ratio and how really up until Indiana won the national championship, every other team that has won in college football, pretty much the last 20 years or however long they started keeping track, and Bud Elliott was the first to come up with the blue chip ratio. If you were over 50% with more 4 and 5 stars than non-4 and 5 stars, and the percentage shows you how many 4 and 5 stars you had on your roster, if that percentage was over 50%, you could win the national championship. And again, until Indiana, every other team
Was
in
in
recent
that.
era was over 50%. Indiana was nowhere close. So that got me thinking about combining recruiting with the transfer portal, which the blue chip ratio does not take into account transfer portal. And I understand why they don't.
Okay.
It takes more work, obviously. And I think also they probably feel like the transfer portal isn't a great indicator. The transfer portal rankings aren't a great indicator, really, of what you have, because that's people projecting what they're going to do. And it's different to project a high school player than someone who either has played in college or has barely played in college as to what they're going to do on a new team, right?
Yeah.
So I get how or why they don't put that transfer portal ranking in there.
And I think they'd have to restart.
I think so too.
Yeah,
You would have
that's
to restart.
It's a
too much
lot more work.
Yeah.
it
too
is.
much work.
So what I did was I went back through
And restart everybody.
I didn't touch any stars. I let the experts evaluate those stars, and I left them as is. Yeah, that would have been a whole nother behemoth. But I went through 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 for recruiting. And then I also went through all 4 of those for transfer portal rankings. So I averaged over those 4 years, 2023 through 2026, I averaged their recruiting rankings. Then I averaged their transfer portal rankings.
Okay.
Then I averaged them both. So
Okay.
some teams are not going to be in the both, for instance, Indiana, because Indiana was not anywhere near the top 50
No, right,
in recruiting.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And then a team like a Texas Tech is not going to be in both because, again, they're going to spend a lot on the transfer portal, but they're not going to land in those recruiting rankings as far as the top 50 or so. So here is how the data weighs out. So when it comes to, we'll start with recruiting average rankings. The teams you would guess, who are the best teams in all of college football?
Georgia.
There you go. Georgia is second. Alabama's
Oh,
first.
Alabama,
Georgia's
okay.
second.
I would guess Ohio State and Michigan.
Ohio State
still-
is fourth. Michigan is actually 14th.
Okay.
Penn State.
Tied for 14th. Penn State is in there. Penn State is 20th.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame is
Dame.
8th.
Texas. We already say Texas.
You did not
Texas
yet.
is good.
Texas is
Texas.
third.
Mhm.
So you have Alabama 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Ohio State 4. There's a team.
Quiz on Friday. Jeez. I'm just kidding.
Pop quiz, that's right.
That's
There's a
right.
team in the Pacific
Guess-
Northwest that does
Oregon.
really well.
Okay.
Yep. Oregon is number 5.
Is Clemson in that?
Clemson is 15th.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll give
I
you
guess-
a team that just recently got a new head coach that lost a head coach that you hate.
Oh,
Or fired a
LSU.
head coach that
Okay.
you hate.
Yeah.
LSU is 6th. The team
Oklahoma?
that Oklahoma is
I mean, we
11.
don't have to go through them all.
No, we
Where
don't.
are we?
No, I was going to say the team that just went to the national championship but lost. Miami comes in at number 7.
Okay.
Notre Dame is
Okay.
8. 9 is USC. 10 is Tennessee.
USC, wow.
11 Oklahoma. 12 is Florida. So
Okay.
Florida has recruited well recently. 13 Texas A&M. 14 Michigan. 15 Clemson. 16 Auburn. 17 Florida State. 18 South Carolina, which I found fascinating.
Mhm.
19 Ole Miss. 20 Penn State, and then 21st was Nebraska. But Nebraska's not going to be in both
Yeah.
because they don't really mind the transfer portal.
Okay.
So that exercise alone made me think, okay, the top teams, no surprise there. Like we
Mhm.
know that they recruit really well. Miami really didn't used to recruit nearly as well until
Yeah.
they got Mario Cristobal. But you would expect those teams to be in the mix. Maybe an Auburn is a little bit of higher than what
Yeah.
people would have expected, but still, you've got a lot of SEC teams, ACC teams, and Big Ten teams. So then we go to the transfer portal average rankings. So Ole Miss is number 1
Okay.
Wow.
over the 4 years. Again,
Yeah.
not just the
Yeah,
1
yeah.
year.
Mhm.
So what we have already extracted, Ole Miss 19th in recruiting and number 1 in
one
the
in
transfer
portal.
portal. Can they continue that
Yeah, 'cause
without Lane
that's
Kiffin?
sustainable, right?
Yeah.
Right. That is a huge question. to
Yeah,
me.
I think that it's the start of, and honestly, I feel like it's a possibility that the Lane Kiffin stuff and the way everything happened might help Ole Miss a little bit because they continued on to play well throughout the college football playoff without Lane Kiffin out there coaching, and that may be a signal to some guys of, oh, this program is well ran in general. You know, the interim who ended up becoming the coach stepped in, and you felt like you didn't really miss a beat during that period of time. There was a lot of guys that did not leave Ole Miss that
Yeah.
could have followed Lane
Yeah.
Kiffin. To me, that's a big indicator that they like the program, and I think that's going to be appealing to a lot of
Yeah.
kids, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't know about Chambliss, but he said he'd come back, right?
Yeah.
Lacey wanted to come
yeah,
back,
he's trying.
right?
Yeah.
Trying to come back. So those 2 star players, that'll trickle down to others wanting to be there as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Pete
good
Golding
for
did
them.
a great job, but to be able to recruit at that high of a level that Lane was doing is hard to continue. All right, so that's the number 1 when it comes to the transfer portal rankings. Miami in at number 2. So
Okay.
there, we should have had a really good indication
Yeah.
that Miami might have been playing in the Final Four, if not the national championship this season. Texas A&M number 3. I don't think that surprises people because of the oil money
Yep.
and the fact that they're willing to spend. 4 is Oregon. So what stood out to me, Oregon recruiting 5 and number 4 transfer portal. So if you're doing the math, they're going to be near the top. Miami,
Yeah.
ends, when you combine them both, Miami's number 1, Oregon's number 2. Oregon is not performing to the level that they're recruiting and then spending in the transfer portal. So I'm not saying Dan Lanning's a bad coach by
Yeah.
any means,
Right.
but if I'm an Oregon fan, or especially if I'm Phil Knight and I'm pouring money into this program, I'm expecting them to be in the national championship. And the reason I, by the way, did these 4 years was this is going back to when like the rosters right now, they were freshmen in 2023.
Yeah.
So I wanted
Okay.
to get freshmen
Gotcha.
through
Yep.
senior, but it also projects to the 2026 class.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of, or heard a lot of people in the college football world say they feel like Oregon's going to, like, next year's the year type of thing. You know, you get those few years, you get your recruits really solidified, and yeah, Dante Moore is gone, but Raiola is going to Oregon, so you kind of get to just replace that quarterback with somebody you feel like meshes into what you've built around. And so, but it will be, if they don't, like, if you're not talking about Oregon deep into the college football playoff, then you are talking about some other issues, in-game coaching issues, things like that, is when you start pointing out those things, because you're being given everything. You're being given those transfer portal guys, you're getting the veteran guys that have played in college football, and you're able to recruit well there. So if you have those top 2 things and you're not able to produce, then there's some other issues going on in the program, I feel
it's
like.
not pay to play, it's pay to win.
Yeah.
Right.
You
And
gotta win.
I mean, they made it to the college football playoff. We
Yeah.
know that. And they had a
Yeah.
great season.
Oh, yeah.
But that's where, honestly, with Georgia, when Mark Richt was the head coach, the Georgia fans were like, yeah, you're going to win double-digit games every year for the most part. 9 or 10 win seasons was what Georgia always had. But they weren't getting to where they wanted to go in the national championship. So
It was Notre Dame with Brian Kelly.
Right.
It was the same
Absolutely.
conversation as you can never win the big games with Brian Kelly. And that it means a lot in college football, because it's cool if you're talking about 10 wins. I mean, NFL too. How many times have we talked about it with Mike Tomlin, and why Mike Tomlin stepped down this season was a lot of the surrounding chatter was, you're here to win championships, not just to make it to the tournament.
Right.
Yep.
to do some damage in the tournament.
Yeah, to win it all. If you're not routinely in the mix for winning it all, absolutely.
Right.
All right, so continuing with the transfer portal rankings, I gave you A&M 3, Oregon 4, FSU 5.
Okay.
That
Not
should not be a surprise.
surprised.
No,
Yeah,
no,
based off of
definitely.
how they've, Mike Norvell has pretty much tried to build that team.
And they were like 19 in the recruiting?
They were 17.
17, okay.
Yeah, so if I'm the athletic director and I look at this data, I'm firing Mike Norvell.
Yeah.
And I know that they didn't, quote unquote, have enough money,
Yeah.
but they also were interested in Lane Kiffin and were serious about pursuing him.
Mhm.
If you're giving me if I'm getting, or the coach is getting a top 20 recruiting class and a top 5 transfer portal class, meaning people are spending in order to get those players there, at this point in time, so in combined, FSU is 10th. You should be in the college football playoff, let alone not an under 500 season. Like based off of this data, I think he should be fired.
Well, his buyout was ridiculous too, right? I know a lot of people say, well, they got to pay 50.
Yeah,
plus
so
or
is Jimbo Fisher's buyout.
To me, the biggest thing for them is quarterback, and you've got to hit on the quarterback. We've had that conversation, and going back. Like kind of relating that to Notre Dame also, that was also their issue for a long time, is they just never had a quarterback. They hit the portal a couple years, get Sam Hartman and Riley Leonard, and that's when you saw them at their best. And then now they finally feel like they hit on a recruit in CJ Carr, obviously. But if you don't have that, you can win 10 games, and it's hard to kind of continue on and win the big games when you need to if you don't have your quarterback. And that's been the issue with them. You have Jordan Travis, and then he gets hurt, and everything falls apart after that. And they've made a lot of mistakes in the quarter. And some of that is Norvell, too. You know, if you're keep bringing in these guys, especially DJ Uiagalelei, that was a bad decision. And maybe last year you can argue a little bit about Castellanos, and if he stayed, a little bit better, and if he stayed healthy, he battled some injuries throughout the year and things like that. But you have to hit on that.
Yep.
And everyone said the roster's bad. But the roster, according to this data, is not bad. And again, I trust the data considering Miami has the best of both worlds and obviously was very close to winning a national championship.
It just goes to, you got to have the QB. And if you're relying on the portal to get your QB, you better hit on them.
Yeah.
Like Miami does.
Right. Indiana, they definitely hit that.
Yeah, for sure.
That position. But no to Florida State. You know, but even Boston College, I mean, they missed a few times, and you're like, you can't win without them. You cannot win without a good quarterback.
All right, I'll continue extrapolating from this data when we return. Keep it right here. You are locked and loaded. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
From the Green Law Group Studios.
Some say they were separated at birth.
Hey, you guys are brothers, huh? Yeah.
Others say they're brothers from different mothers.
Hey, what is this, a family business or what?
They're not twins. They are Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Mornings on 1010XL.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
Hey Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Life happens every day, and sometimes it gets in the way. That's why 1010XL makes it easy to listen to your favorites. If you missed it, get it on demand.
At 1010XL.com.
Channeled by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning.
Baloo here for Smoonez Vision. Why Smoonez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smoonez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smoonez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smoonez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmoonezVision.com today. Care you can see.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Are you looking for a place to outfit your truck or van? It's Catlin Truck Accessories. For 105 years and 4 generations, Catlin is the name you can count on. This is Keith Catlin, and we know trucks and vans too, from Lear toppers, ladder racks, van shelving, strobe lighting, roll and lock bed covers, and everything in between. If you want quality products and great customer service, there's only one name. It's Catlin.
Who can you count on? Count on Catlin.
For 105 years, you can count on Catlin.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now. See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous rapid equity loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on this Friday afternoon. The weekend is almost upon us, maybe upon some of you already. Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Talking some college football, and I wanted to put together the data because it doesn't exist as far as I can tell between combining recruiting rankings and then the transfer portal rankings. So we went through all of the top 20 as far as recruiting rankings are concerned, and now we're flying through the transfer portal rankings. So Ole Miss 1, Miami 2, A&M 3, Oregon 4, FSU 5. So I'll run through the rest of these. LSU is 6. So they're obviously also going to have a very high combo. Colorado is 7. Colorado is not going to be in the both because Colorado only worries about the transfer portal and not recruiting. Auburn 8, Oklahoma 9, Ohio State 10. So that one is interesting to me because Ohio State I would have thought was like top 3 as far as transfer portal classes, but I think it was really only 1 year that they delved into it. They can be pretty much like the Georgias and Alabamas that don't really need it. All right, and then USC 11, Texas 12, South Carolina 13, Indiana 14. So ding, ding, ding. That's how they got to the national championship was all through that transfer portal. Alabama 15, Texas Tech 16, Florida 17, Georgia 18. Very low for Georgia because, again, they don't really dip their toe into that world that much unless they have to. Notre Dame 19. Notre Dame is very similar in that regard, too. 20 Tennessee, 21 Penn State, 22 Clemson, and 23 Michigan. My guess is Michigan's going to move up higher as they realize how this landscape is changing. But so now we'll go to the combined. So these are the teams with between both. They should be some of the best teams in America.
Can I do a side note real quick just based on those?
Yeah. Well, I love sidebars.
Because of going back to Indiana, I feel like you almost give them even more credit because we talked about in the recruiting side, they were not even were they on the list at all? No. So not on the recruiting at all. And then 14th. So it's not even like you're a top 5 in the portal. You're still, and 14th still, that means you're hitting that portal a lot and your roster is evaluated pretty highly. But still, it's not like you're a top 5 portal team and then not recruiting. Like that's credit to them for and Signetti for which we've done a lot on this show. But.
For sure. And really, that transfer portal ranking is probably wrong because it's based off of those high school
those star ratings.
Those recruiting ranking services. And by the way, all of this is from 24/7 Sports, so thanks to them for putting all this together as far as the recruiting class rankings and the team transfer portal rankings. But that's where we're not getting a real proper evaluation of once a guy plays in college, how does that change their projection in the college football? We just go off of the high school, which obviously a guy can grow, can gain a ton of muscle, can get a lot faster with, college nutrition and everything.
Leon Searcy always said he was a 2-star.
Right.
That's one example of it.
No, you do. You get better. You get, more confident. You learn more. You figure it out more. I will tell you with Cignetti, having the number 1 pick in the draft at QB definitely helped a ton. But his culture and his style obviously brought that team together. But amazing, not in the top 20, whatever, for recruiting, but 14th.
Like I went through, for those 4 years, I went through and listed out every single team in the top 25 as far as recruiting, and then in the top 25 as far as recruiting rankings. But I also went back, and if a team wasn't in the top 25 recruiting or transfer portal, I went through and then I took that number of where their ranking was so that I'd have more data. But the recruiting, it's the same teams year in and year out. It's a transfer portal that is so up and down.
And as a new coach, you got to go to the portal. Right, you can't. You're not going to. Your recruiting class is going to be tough. You got to.
But that's what Mike Norvell did. But he was never able to shift it. He's still the head coach, so I should use past tense. But so far, he hasn't been able to shift it into recruiting to be able to have both. Okay, so here are the combined, and I'll give you the numbers just so you have an idea when it comes to Miami versus the bottom team in this. So these are the top 20 combined. So Miami, number 1, that averaged out to a 7.375. The lower the number, the better you are, obviously, because that means you're close to the top 5 in these things. So Miami comes in 7.3. Oregon, number 2, 7.6. LSU, number 3, at 10-something. That's the reason Brian Kelly was fired. The same reason that Oregon's saying we expect more. Brian Kelly was given a ton of resources, has the fertile recruiting base, has all those LSU big donors, and is technically should have the 3rd best roster in all of the land.
Yeah. He was crying about recruiting. Remember that? On national TV.
He
cries.
What are you talking about? That's what he does.
He is a crier.
Ohio State is number 4 at 10.6. A&M number 5 at 11. A&M is another team, made the college football playoff, but based off of how good their roster is, they're not achieving expectations. But because they had Jimbo Fisher and they haven't been where they wanted, they're at least going the right direction with Mike Elko. So fans aren't necessarily happy, but I feel like complacent, or at least okay with this information.
And this is where that other conversation we were just having comes in with the having to refigure the stars when they're coming out, because how many, we're looking at it right now as the number. How much does that drastically change? Because these guys, when you're going in the portal, you're trying to hit on these guys, and if you're grabbing a guy and you're like, he was a 5-star coming into this school, and you take him and that 5-star just transfers to your roster, what you do with him, number 1, he may not be a 5-star anymore. Right. You also, what you do in developing him and using him in your scheme and system and everything like that, maybe that 5-star also isn't showing. And that feels like some of these schools like at Texas A&M are kind of, and LSU are underperforming in that sense. And a team like Indiana is way overperforming in that sense.
Right. So the coaching and development isn't there.
Yeah, and I think, Cignetti was kind of interesting because he brought some guys from James Madison. So that helped not only fill the roster, but fill guys that can spread his message around really quickly. You know what I mean? New coach coming in with, I don't know, it looks like he dropped a hammer quite a bit on guys, just reading the room there. But, you got to have guys who be like, hey, man, it's okay. He yells. He just likes to yell. It's okay. He really likes you if he's yelling. Just things like that to smooth things over. But, look, at the end of the day, you regardless of rankings, right? You got to perform on the field. And if your guys aren't winning one-on-one matchups, it's on them, but it's also on you not getting them ready. If you had a 5-star, you should be like, oh my gosh, this thing of clay that I have that I'm going to turn into this. Because if he's 5-star, he's got all the physical tools.
Yeah. Sure.
Maybe we don't know everything about his mental and emotional, all that, but physically, he's going to be big, he's going to be fast, he's going to be strong, quick, jump high, lift a lot of weights, whatever. And you're going to look at that and be like, oh, man, I can make that into a football player. And how you don't is beyond me. Now, maybe you don't get to him, and maybe just that connection's not there. That does happen.
Absolutely.
And then at least, in that regard, and that's just not going to be a fit, then I'm all for it. Okay, go try it another place. It's not going to happen here. But hopefully with these GMs, that's why they're being brought on. You got to vet that out for the coach. You got to vet out for the university. Can't just bring me all the 5-star guys. You got to bring me the guys that fit what I'm selling here and how we're going to do things around here. So it's no different than the NFL.
Yeah.
It really isn't. It's kind of the same. It's like an owner that puts out a lot of money for free agency. What does he expect? He expects you to win. I mean, you're chasing the ring. I mean, you're buying for the ring.
Yeah.
By the way, the number on the New England Patriots, it wasn't 294. It's like 3-something. I mean, they spent over in value, contract value, over $350 million in the offseason for 2025.
That's
But where are they? Kraft's like, hell yeah.
right.
We're in the
And
Super Bowl.
But that's
it's
where
worth
you want to
it,
be as
right?
an owner or as a team and a fan base, is you want your owner to be able to spend whatever the GM and head
Correct.
coach believes
Yeah.
that they need to spend. And
Correct.
what's interesting in college football now is they have general managers. So it's not all on
Right.
the coach to be able to identify this talent. Now, obviously, in Gainesville, Dave Caldwell is helping John
Yeah,
Sumrall
yeah.
with all of this and the contract negotiations and things like that as well. But it's interesting to me in the sense that you've got schools that should be overperforming, and then you've got schools that have underperformed.
Yeah.
And where does college football go as far as roster management and roster building based off of the trends that we've seen? Like, for instance, when Michigan won the national championship a couple of years ago in 2023,
Yeah.
the team they beat, we haven't mentioned once in Washington.
Yeah, right.
Like, haven't mentioned them, not in the top 25 as far as recruiting year in and year out. They're decent at recruiting, but not great.
Yeah.
And then not great transfer portal wise either, but yet they were in the national championship a couple of years ago.
Yep.
And
Definitely
they
hit
had
on
a great,
some players.
Yeah, they had a great
Right.
quarterback in Michael Penix
Yeah.
and great
Right.
receivers.
Roma Dunze, yeah.
For sure.
And this is where I think we may see more problems come, in the sense of when we talk about boosters and NIL and what they're spending, and they pay a player and you feel like you have to pay that player play that player. That's a hard
Yeah.
thing to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
You have to play that player because they're getting
He's
paid.
paid.
And
Play the paid player.
Politics. Yeah.
and
yeah,
how
for
much
sure.
is that going to start factoring in? I think back to Texas A&M last year when it was like Connor Wegman was the quarterback. He started initially. It didn't look good, but it felt like they were trying to be like, okay, well, we feel like, and I don't know how much these guys were getting paid.
I think that was 2 years ago.
2
right?
years ago, yeah. That's when I think Notre Dame opened with A&M in the beginning of that. But so 2 years ago, and you go through and it's like they were trying to make him work. And I don't know if it had anything to do with money or if it was just like, no, this was supposed to be the guy, so you feel like you have to ride with it. The moment you feel like they switched over to Marcel Reed, everything opened up offensively because what he can do with his legs. And so, not saying this is just one that I thought about because of Texas A&M and how high they are on this and how you think they should be performing, I guess, a little bit better. I'm putting that in quotes because they've won a lot of football games recently.
Yeah.
But I do wonder how much that's going to factor into things. You have these billionaires that are like, I just spent $9 million on this guy. He better be playing. But what if he's not playing up to a standard that's making your football team better? How quickly can a coach be like, too bad?
Yeah, or you pay him a visit, especially out in landman world. They're going to come after you. You kidding me? No, I mean, I get it. Look, it's kind of like what Troy Aikman said. I paid that check.
Yeah.
I never got to thank you. The kid left. Like, it was like,
I'm
what
not
did
doing
I,
this
what,
anymore.
What did I do that for?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be that kind of pressure, and that's why even more you got to have more than one.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, look at Ole Miss. Chambliss was from Fair State, right? He was going to be the backup, wasn't he?
Yeah, Austin
and then
Simmons
he ends
was
up,
the
yeah,
quarterback.
right. And then he ends up being the stud player. So maybe that's the deal. You better have a backup plan with your QB,
Always now.
especially. You know, I mean that. Look, I don't care what level we're talking about. It feels like that's where everything's going. Like, you got to have a QB.
Yeah.
You got to have a coach that can bring it all together, but you got to have the quarterback that can win ball games for you.
Yeah, and we
without
talked about
question.
how important a backup quarterback is.
And
We've
backups
seen it
now.
here in Jacksonville
Yeah.
and then obviously with the 49ers, but a lot of quarterbacks miss time, like prominent quarterbacks this year miss time. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. And can you have a guy that keeps you afloat? What's interesting, going back to your conversation or talking point, Tom, about college football, I was thinking about how it used to be so much easier to set the culture for these programs because you had the head coach that had been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
You had a freshman class that's going to look up to the senior class, or the underclassmen would look up to the upperclassmen. And the culture is set by those upperclassmen.
Yeah.
The coach barely even has to do more than just ensure that his guys or those upperclassmen are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But they're the ones setting the tone. And now you've
That's
got guys
general
coming,
managers and
but you've got guys coming in from so many
Oh, yeah,
different teams
boosters.
now, all coming in into this melting pot. And I'm not saying it's bad for college football.
Yep.
If you are Ole Miss right now in this landscape, if you can keep it going, this is fantastic
Yeah,
for college
this is
football.
what you
Obviously,
wanted,
yeah,
probably.
Indiana. I mean, A&M, if they can get it right, A&M hasn't won a college football national championship in the last 50 years.
Yep.
But if they can continue what they're doing, the way the NIL is set up, it's going and transfer portal,
Yeah.
it's going to
That's
help
your
them.
opportunity. Yeah.
Right, and it's keeping them. because how many teams or schools, guy come in for a year, he's gone the next year.
Yeah.
You know, and then he goes to another school, and then he's gone to another school. You know, if it's a quarterback, that's a big problem, especially if you're counting on him.
Yeah, I think certain schools retain, and I don't have that exact data, but certain schools I think retain most of their players. They're 4 and 5 star blue chip prospects. Like Georgia is absolutely one of those schools.
Yeah.
Only a few guys are leaving Georgia to pursue opportunities elsewhere, and it's probably because they weren't getting playing time, which you'd expect.
Well, that's why it's big storylines when you see like 5-star
Right.
recruit hits the transfer portal. It's usually one of the bigger things you're talking about. And that school, whoever he transfers to, is like, wow, so and so just landed this guy. And so it doesn't happen often, but it happens. And I think that and especially now, because I think that when you're combining these two things, when you're talking about that portal and you're talking about the recruiting, you're recruiting these guys, they come in, they feel like they're going to be the starting wide receiver. That next year the portal opens and a 3-star wide receiver that you just saw have 1,200 yards hits the portal and you want him, and all of a sudden that recruit doesn't have a place anymore, at least, or is a backup. And that's how quickly it changes now. And it didn't change that quickly in college football pre the portal being able to transfer as many times as you can and pre NIL.
It's like pro football. I mean, every year, if you're not in a long-term contract, you're fighting off the competition. You know, they're coming for your job. It's the same kind of deal.
Even if the player doesn't enter the portal, which is that's the biggest problem.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
You're getting recruited and poached when you didn't actually enter the
Right.
portal. But
Yeah, Dabo was not happy about that, by the way.
No, I saw that. Yeah.
Right, because this player didn't
blame
enter the transfer
Yeah.
portal. Speaking of Clemson, we got to finish with that data, so we'll continue this conversation on the other side. The new chip ratio, that's what I'm terming it. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Backed by Green Law Group.
For the insured.
Fighting for you. Streaming live from the XL Digital Studios. Polished by Harbor Dental Care, the locally owned smile restoration experts.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Happy New Year, everyone. It's time to treat yourself to something special.
What better way to start the year than with a stunning Cadillac from Randy Marion Cadillac?
My dad, Randy Marion, is the king of price, and we've got unbeatable prices and a great selection to choose from.
You can see all the inventory at randymarioncadillacjacksonville.com.
And don't forget, we need your car even if you don't buy from us.
Ask for Sean Spencer and he'll pay top dollar for your vehicle. Drive to Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard in Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title $9.99 admin fee and resistol on approved credit.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now. In the gym or on the field, and now at Tokoi Creek High School and Westside Middle. Check it out, i9sports.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pool. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. You hear about guarantees and warranties. What is Underwood's policy?
Frank, to talk about guarantees and warranties, you have to look at our history of over 70 years in business. Underwood's entire reason for existence is and has been to offer fine products that'll be used with such satisfaction that both the giver and the receiver will want to come back. And hopefully they'll tell their friends about us. To do this means we've got to try our hardest to satisfy every customer. All of our people understand that. Now, I'm sure over the years we've made a few mistakes, but we've never failed to make good on any Underwood product that was returned with a legitimate customer complaint. Our entire reputation would mean nothing if we didn't conduct ourselves that way. Simply put, conducting our business with integrity is a lot more important to Underwoods and our customers than all the guarantees, warranties, and contrived legal obligations in the world. And you've got Underwood's word, my word, and all of our people's word on that.
Underwoods in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
The Jacksonville Icemen are in town for a pair of games this Saturday and Sunday. Saturday at 7, it's Star Wars night. Whether you support the Rebel Alliance or the Empire, come out for a night of fun as the Icemen wear special themed Star Wars jerseys. Then Sunday at 3, it's Publix Family Fun Day. Take a shot on goal on the ice after the game. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksonvilleIcemen.com, or call 904-602-POD. Iceman hockey is #Sub-Zero.
Hey, it's Angela and Brian Wall. How many companies do you know in this day and age that actually want their potential customers to call their competition and get quotes from them?
That's what WindoWorld wants you to do. WindoWorld knows there are other window companies out there, but we also know those other guys. When compared to WindoWorld, they can't offer you the quality at the price that WindoWorld can.
And with Window World, you get the absolute best guarantee there is in the window replacement business.
If anything goes wrong with your new WindoWorld windows, 5 years from now, 10, 15, 50, WindoWorld and I will be there to fix it for you. You get peace of mind with WindoWorld, and to top it off, WindoWorld windows increase the value of your home. So look what you get with WindoWorld. Quality windows, low price, the best guarantee in the business, energy savings, and an increase in the value of your home. A win-win for you.
Call Window World today and get your free in-home estimate, or see them online at windowworldneflorida.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Do you love the Doobie Brothers, Tom?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah,
I
they're
love
good.
the Doobie Brothers, but I don't love Michael McDonald.
Oh, see, I think
You
he's
love Michael McDonald.
fantastic.
Okay,
yeah,
that's fine.
yeah. He's got a cool voice.
There's a police officer that works Jags games that my friends used to park like right near where he would be operating, and
Yeah.
they were like, he looks exactly like Michael McDonald.
Oh,
I saw him one
really?
time, and I was like, he does look like Michael McDonald. You're right on that in that
Yeah,
regard.
good call.
Yeah.
Was
Taylor-
that Doobie Brothers?
That was
Oh,
Doobie
okay.
Brothers. But that
The
was
Doobs.
with Michael McDonald
Oh, okay.
as the lead
Right,
singer.
right.
Yeah, I prefer, like I said, not. But that's fine. Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. RJ is the one making all the music happen. All right, let's finish the new chip ratio. Again, if you missed the top of the show, it went through 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026 recruiting rankings, as well as transfer portal rankings, and then averaged them all together. So yes, I used a spreadsheet. I did not do the math in my head. All right, so Miami 1, Oregon 2, LSU 3, Ohio State 4, Texas A&M 5. And the reason that, like I said, that I went through those specific years is those guys are still playing
Right.
college football. I guess some of the 2023 could have gone into the draft at this
Yeah.
point in time.
Yep.
But most of these guys will be playing college football this season. So it's not just a look back, but it's also projecting to the future.
Okay.
So number 6 is Ole Miss, number 7 is Texas, 8 is Alabama, 9 is Oklahoma, 10 is USC. Texas is another team that I feel like is underperforming based off of this data. Alabama, if Nick Saban was still the head coach, Alabama would be in the top 3 of this combined
Oh,
ratio,
yeah.
the new chip ratio. So then FSU is number 11, by the way.
Okay.
So, like I said already, I would
Yeah,
have fired Mike Norvell, but
underperforming.
yeah, based off of this data. Auburn is 12.
Wow.
Auburn is another school. When I started doing this, I was like, I can't believe Auburn is appearing this much in the top 25 recruiting, and then in the transfer portal. I guess I've missed that Auburn is pouring a lot of money into their program.
Me too. And I do think that's another school I relate QB to because I remember this last offseason, a lot of conversations we had. I remember having Cole Thompson on and several guys that were talking about SEC football in general. And they all said if Hugh Freeze doesn't hit on the quarterback this year, if it's another disaster of a quarterback, he's gone. And I mean, we're seeing that kind of pan out. He's golfing, I guess, instead of trying to find a quarterback. But that's where some of them, you're like, you feel like maybe they'd be more competitive if they had the QB. And I feel like Auburn is one of the ones that stand out to me in that sense, just because that's been one of their main issues pretty much since Cam Newton.
And they have Alex Golish, who they were able to get from USF, and the quarterback, Byron Brown, that when he played at USF, beat Florida in
Came
the
with
swamp,
him.
went
Okay.
to Auburn with Alex Golish. Yes.
Maybe they hit this time.
So that's
With a
certainly
new
a
coach.
possibility,
Yeah.
with a new coach. But you would think they have a really good roster, which everyone last year that were Auburn fans complained that, the quarterback just wasn't getting the ball to their talented playmakers. All
Now,
right,
do
so
you think
go ahead.
Lincoln Riley is going to start getting more
So that's
criticism?
another one. I'm glad you
Yeah,
said that.
USC,
That's another one that I was like, how does Lincoln Riley still have his job? And I know who are they going to get that's necessarily better as an offensive coach, but combined, you have a really good roster and you're not doing squat, and you have had really good quarterbacks.
And he's talking about like every year he's in the talks of going to head coach other schools.
Right.
So
Yes.
not only is he keeping his job, every year he's in the conversation. Florida, I remember people are like, oh, maybe Lincoln Riley's going to Florida. And he's in the conversation every year of that. But yeah, when you talk about, because what was it? He was at 10. Yeah, so you're 10.
Top 10 in the country as far as these combined.
And yeah, you're 2 years ago, you had Caleb Williams. And so it's just like that. That is the things that you start to pay attention a little bit in this sense of the combination of those things. You're being given a good roster, and when do some of these coaches or general managers now, whatever because now schools are hiring that, start being held accountable for what's being actually happening on the football field.
Yeah, USC, what you would think would be a powerhouse. They haven't been in
it's
been
been
a while.
since Pete Carroll, basically.
Yeah, but kids still, I mean, look, they're going to pay them, but you still want to go there, because USC's got the history. It's beautiful, you like the colors of the school, whatever.
Tony Baselli's listening.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
Yeah,
with
no,
the
he
brand
shouldn't
of
be.
USC.
He shouldn't be. But
yeah, I'd be furious if I
Yeah.
was a booster
Yeah.
for USC, Southern California, and they have this roster. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to give you all numbers. So Miami comes in at a little over 7. And then to give you perspective, Oklahoma and USC and FSU are all in the 13 range.
Okay.
So then moving along, Auburn 12, like I said, Georgia 13 at 16.75. So that's a big disparity between Miami and Georgia. And so again, we expect Kirby Smart to win this season with the talented recruiting class that he has. If he doesn't, I feel like Georgia's going to have to look more
Start hitting
into
the
the
portal.
transfer
Yeah.
portal.
Yeah.
All right, so again, Georgia a little over 16. Michigan comes in at 17. South Carolina, so I should give you the numbers. Georgia is 13th in the country at a little over 16. Michigan is 14th in the country at 17. South Carolina is 15th in the country at 20. Again, Shane Bieber, I'm surprised he has a job based off of this data, and then I'll run through the last ones. Florida is 16th in the country at 21. Notre Dame is 17th in the country. They come in at 23. I'll just say points. 18 is Tennessee at 24 points, Penn State 19, 32 points. And then the reason I am even mentioning the points.
Yeah, I wonder why James Franklin doesn't have a job.
Top 20. Clemson is 20th, okay? At least according to my data, 59 points. So because they don't do anything in the transfer portal rankings, you're talking about transfer portal classes that are awful.
Yeah.
For
So
their
Miami's
rankings.
7.
Correct. Clemson 59 and
Wow.
Penn State 32. And Penn State, you would imagine, had good recruiting under James Franklin. Their transfer portal classes weren't great, but now you would expect that to improve.
Yeah, and that's wild. And I think that just shows to the teams at the top that have figured out both sides of it.
Right.
And that's going to be the conversation moving forward. Can a school like Georgia, who doesn't really want to use the portal like that because they can recruit so well and it still keeps them, in the top 15, top 20. And so do they keep going with that and say, hey, we feel like we can win a national championship in this range? Or do they feel like, okay, well, if we want to hang with the Miamis and the Ohio States and, the schools at the top, then we're going to have to start hitting the portal. And I do feel like the boosters who are paying money may start pushing towards that. Like, look what these other schools are doing. You have to at least start leaning into that a little bit. Clemson's one of those.
Right, you
obviously.
can't be like Dabo.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, the portal should be more towards your QBs, wide receiver, like your star, and then the grunts are through your recruiting. Through your having your glue through the recruiting, because you got to hit on the QB, right? We talk about that. We'll still talk about it, but the chance of you hitting on a kid out of high school as opposed to maybe a guy that's played a little bit in college that looks the part and you feel really good about. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
I
it's
think
worth that.
Ideally, you want to have both. You want
You
to
do.
have a guy
Yeah.
that you're getting into your system as a freshman that's not going to necessarily have to play, and you have maybe
Or
a transfer
leave.
portal, or leave,
Yeah.
have a
Right.
transfer portal quarterback, and then you've groomed him for a year,
Right.
and then that player starts. The problem is, if you're a 5-star quarterback or a 4-star quarterback and you go somewhere and you don't play right away, then you're
you're
if you're
going, right.
groomed to be the next guy, you're
Yeah.
still looking to
Right.
go elsewhere, especially too because you can make money
Yeah.
looking to go elsewhere. That's obviously part of the problem. And
Yeah.
if you were going to be able to fix college football, I feel like you'd have to say, okay, you have 2 options. You can either take NIL dollars or you can pick the transfer portal. But we can't combine.
yeah.
Because that's what leads to this wild, wild west and what leads to much more like free agency in the NFL. But there are no guardrails. There are guardrails guardrails in the NFL. There are no guardrails in college football.
That's going to be another fascinating thing when you talk about Georgia and Indiana in general, just to see, because you want to see which way this goes. Does Indiana, because they just won the national championship, recruiting becomes easier, and now they can recruit, and so they can have the guys that can hit the portal. Obviously, Siggs can do that. So now you have a guy that can identify talent that's in the portal, and you won a national championship, so kids want to come play for you now. Does it lean that way, or does Cignetti feel like what I did worked, so let me just continue doing that and to get these guys out of the portal that I know I've already seen their talent at the college football level, and we'll all be 27 years old and we'll win national championships.
Well, look,
they can all drink beer with him when they get to campus.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with the QB, because like you just said, if you recruit a young kid and he doesn't want to wait, he's going to leave anyway.
Yeah.
So why even go through all that? Maybe you just build your QBs around the portal, and maybe you get a couple, some young guys.
Like Florida's interesting because you've got Tramel Jones Jr., who was a freshman last year, sat behind DJ Lagway, and then Florida brought in the transfer quarterback and Aaron Philo from Georgia Tech, because Florida got Georgia Tech's offensive coordinator and Buster Faulkner to work under John Sumrall. So if Tramel Jones Jr. doesn't win that battle, you'd expect him to look elsewhere, even though, I think Philo is a junior. I can't remember, maybe a sophomore. So he would have more years of eligibility.
Yeah.
In Florida, I remember having that conversation last year with you. Just kind of felt like Billy Napier wasn't prepared for DJ Lagway to not work out, in the sense of the whole offseason. It was like, Lagway's the guy, even though he was injured and he wasn't practicing.
Throwing at the spring game that I went to, for crying out loud. And by the way, Philo was a freshman last year, so he has tons of eligibility left.
But yeah, so you have different scenarios now between the 2 years of what Florida was doing last year. So you're hoping that Pat Sumrall, not John Sumrall,
John Sumrall,
is at least going to say, hey, we have a battle here, and let's see which quarterback can win this out and give them both the opportunity. Because the last thing you want to do, again, is you go in and maybe they look good in practice, and then real game speed happens, or an injury happens, and that other backup's not ready. That's something that Florida, I think, kind of learned last year.
Listen, I think you can control a lot of this if you put a limit on how many times you can transfer.
Sure, that's absolutely part of it. But also, if you can't get money to transfer, you're not going to see nearly as many kids go in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you can pick either NIL or portal. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's do
Makes
it. All right,
sense.
more to do on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels on a Friday, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels, provided by Green Law Group. The NBA is on 1010XL.
The Magic go deep in the heart of Texas. Orlando, San Antonio. Sunday at 4 on 1010XL.
Like many football fans in Jacksonville, I love defense. I am attorney Lee Lockett, and I'm here to tell you that defense in the courtroom is important as well. That's because penalties for DUI are much more serious than penalties on the gridiron. If you or someone you know is facing a DUI, call us for a free case analysis now. Know before you blow 858-9818. Put my more than 20 years of experience to work for you. Office is Jacksonville, serving all surrounding counties. Call 858-9818 or go to knowbeforeyoublow.com.
When it comes to glass, you don't want average. You want flawless. Duval Glass and Mirror has transformed homes and businesses across Jacksonville for over 35 years. Frameless showers that wow. Mirrors cut exactly to your style. Fogged or broken glass replaced. Decorative tabletops. Windows replaced or repaired to stand up to Florida storms. All backed by a 100% guarantee. Visit DuvalGlass.com for your free quote. There's only one name for glass and mirror around these parts. It's Duval.
Ace Carline here for Atlantic Infinity, and yes, I'm still loving my new QX60. Right now, you can lease one or lock in just 1.9% financing for 60 months, and every new Infinity comes with the Atlantic Infinity Promise. That's over $7,000 in added value. That's one of many reasons why I bought mine there. No pressure, no games, just a great experience. Make your next ride an Infinity from Atlantic Infinity. Visit AtlanticInfinity.com or the showroom near Atlantic and St. John's Bluff.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On January 30th, 1994, the Dallas Cowboys defeat the Buffalo Bills for their second straight NFL title, while giving the Bills 4 straight Super Bowl losses.
Hi,
I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, celebrating our 49th annual Valentine's Day sale. Come see our hand-picked inventory of thousands of pieces of fine jewelry, diamonds, and gemstones. This Valentine's Day, we have big discounts with jewelry for any budget. And with interest-free financing, you'll get the jewelry you love with a monthly payment you can afford. Monahans will also give you cash for your unwanted gold or silver, or trade it in for new jewelry and get greater value. Monahan Jewelers Valentine's Day sale with big savings in our entire inventory. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
We don't have too many cold nights on the first coast, but when the temperature drops, you want to hit the heat button and warm up. That's where Florida Home comes in. They're the AC experts in Jacksonville, and the importance of keeping your heating system in good working order is really important. If it stops working when it gets cooler, Florida Home will leap into action and provide you with the best solution. Heater and heat pump repair service and new system installation. They do it all. Just call Florida Home AC at 777-4300, the official heating and AC partner of the Jaguars.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the adorable chess man on the tracks.
There are two things you should ask yourself about your garage floor. How clean is it now, and how clean would you like it to be? A typical bare concrete floor doesn't just collect dirt, it makes dirt.
It is literally made of dirt.
As much as you sweep and mop, the dust and grit just never ends.
And drips from your car seep into the pores, staining the concrete forever.
A Checkmate multi-layer floor resists drips and stains. It comes in your choice of dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear shoes in the garage and track dirt back in the house.
Gorgeous?
Check. Durable?
Check. Tidy enough to walk on wearing clean white socks? Checkmate.
Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate.
Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Cause you're a sky full of stars.
In all my college football research, it just occurred to me, Tom, at no point in time did I see Boston College. I'm so sorry.
I'm not worried.
I'm not worried.
That's Bill's problem. He better get it together.
That's right.
Nice call on the song there. Did you guys catch that?
Sky Full of Stars by Coldplay?
Yeah.
Stars.
We're talking about stars.
Ah, well done.
Wasn't that
That was
nice?
good.
Nice job. I caught you, man.
Yeah, excellent job. I was expecting the college football fight song from USC or FSU or Auburn, one of the schools that we're trashing, basically.
Right.
All right, so we're going to make a mental note of this, and I'll obviously save this spreadsheet because I spent way too much time on it as it is. These are the top 12 teams based off of this data. These are the 12 teams that will be in the college football playoff next year. Now, granted, I don't have any group of 5 teams in here, which is another reason they probably shouldn't be in the college football playoff.
Get 'em out.
Tom's, getting him out.
Get 'em out.
But here are the 12 teams. Sorry to the schools that are not in this. Miami, Oregon, LSU, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, that's your top 6, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, USC, FSU, and Auburn. So that leaves Georgia out. That leaves Florida obviously out. That leaves Notre Dame out. So again, this is not a realistic picture of what's going to happen.
Right.
But in a year from now, once the college football playoff is over, we're going to look back and compare the 12 teams that actually did make it to this and see where they
how
were.
close it actually was.
Yeah, because again, Indiana's not even in this because they're only
14
building their team through one side of things.
Right.
Yeah.
As a Notre Dame fan, Taylor, now that you know that they're 17th in this combined ranking, does this make you glad that Marcus Freeman is doing it the way that he's doing it? Does it make you want him to climb up in this even higher?
I've loved what Marcus Freeman has done. I mean, the amount of he's had more 5 stars this season than Brian Kelly did the entire time he was at Notre Dame, and that 4 and 5 stars. That he's definitely leaned towards the recruiting, and obviously Portal was different and stuff when Brian Kelly. So it's hard to even compare those two with the opportunities that they have almost at their time at Notre Dame. But he's done a really, really good job of getting young talent to Notre Dame and kind of feeling like they're refreshing and going. I'm sure I looked back at the last 4 or 5 years of the portal. And every year they've had 7 or 8 guys that they've gotten in the portal. So they're out there, and they more so say, hey, this is our biggest needs. We need offensive linemen. We need a cornerback, whatever. And they go specifically do that. They don't just hit the portal to hit the portal. They go for specific needs. And when they did that with the quarterbacks, with Hartman and Riley Leonard, it ended up working in their favor. But they don't overdo it. And I kind of like that in the sense they're not overpaying guys, it feels like. And I personally like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that makes Notre Dame different is, they've got, I don't know how many, but think of all the Catholic high schools in America and beyond, Their number one school is Notre Dame. If they're that Catholic way.
Yeah.
Just think of all those prospects, all over the world. But just think about it in the country. So pay or not pay, there's something about going to Notre Dame still, right? And you may not feel it here like around Jackson. I get that. It is regional to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But they're strong enough to where you're like, yeah, I'm going to Notre Dame. I mean, I'm just built for Notre Dame.
Recruited nationally before a lot of schools recruited nationally,
Yep.
which some people said, well, that's hurting them because they don't have that regional base that some other schools do, like Texas and the California schools and Florida schools. But at the same time, they were recruiting nationally to now every school is recruiting nationally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Notre Dame kind of had that footprint laid out ahead. And obviously, you're not saying everyone that plays for Notre Dame is Catholic.
No, I don't mean
but
that,
they
but
get to pull from
those,
fan base. that
which is a nice
starting Catholic, yeah.
sizable group that you get to pull on. No, I didn't mean that. Not just them go there.
Sure.
Catholics go there, but they do have a nice group to. I always felt like with Notre Dame academic, like. Think of alumni and where they're at. Notre Dame's always been nationwide. Most other schools are regional.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Notre Dame brings to the table.
And my best friends that went to Notre Dame were Catholic, so it does line up as far as that regard.
Yeah, it's funny. It was. I saw something from The Athletic because the college football site for The Athletic had just released today who wins the national championship next year. So I just wanted to compare with those things real quick because it was interesting. So they go through, they each had vote. They each got to vote. So I don't know how many total people. I could add them up real quick. But so they have Oregon. Oregon received 9 votes on this Athletic college football page. Notre Dame was 2 with 5. Texas had 4 votes. Indiana had 3. Ohio State had 3. Georgia, LSU, Miami, and Texas Tech all had 1.
So that the one school in there certainly, well, besides Indiana for obvious
Notre
reasons,
Dame.
but Texas Tech, like I said, is not going to be in this composite of the new chip ratio that I've coined it because they're not recruiting at that level. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't moving forward. And that's one of those schools that because of the difference, the different landscape that we have now in college football, they can emerge as being one of the better schools. It doesn't just have to be Mike Leach's air raid there.
It doesn't seem like it's one formula to work, right? Just
Correct.
yet. It might get
and
into
that's
that,
where
but
Indiana
right
skews it so much.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Outside of Indiana, there was a formula for the most part, but now you have to throw that formula out.
Yep.
And now, if FSU had won, let's say, like in the last 3 seasons, then they would have skewed it as well because FSU is leaning more transfer portal than recruiting right now.
And I feel like Miami almost skews it to the evenness a little heavier than some of the other. It was the top 2, both had 7. It was Miami and who?
Miami and Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those 2 both had the 7 and then it's
the
a drop
lowest
down
number.
to 10. So there's it's a decent gap in that. So those 2 almost skew it the opposite way of here's the most even way that you could possibly build a college football team.
Absolutely. If you'd like the spreadsheet emailed to you, Lauren B at 1010XL.com. Happy to send it to you. All right. So let's get into some NFL on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. Bought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
When did you learn the salute? Right over left. Arms locked at the elbow.
Chug, chug, chug.
Till it burned in our joints and in our hearts.
1010XL. Home of the Gators.
A new year is the perfect time to finally get organized. Lauren Brooks here, and I just love our closets from Closets by Design. They will create custom storage solutions for you, designed around how you actually live, from closets and garages to home offices, entertainment centers, laundry rooms, so much more. Beautiful, functional storage for any space, lifestyle, and budget. So start the new year strong with 40% off, plus an extra 15% off, free installation, and 18-month special financing. Schedule your free in-home consultation today by calling 904-878-9393, or you can find them online, closetsbydesign.com.
The doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists have resolved my hip and foot issues, and I'm back to training for the 2028 Olympics in LA. This is Garrett Scantling, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
This is David Garrard. Following my knee surgeries and recovery, I'm continuing to feel great and would recommend Southeast Orthopedic to anyone who's experiencing orthopedic pain.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
It's a new year at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, and St. Augustine. Cash in this month with thrilling promotions and tournaments, including daily high hands. Don't miss the winning weekends and table games Clockwork Cash Out, giving away $500 cash every 30 minutes on selected weekends at all Best Bet locations. The excitement is just beginning in 2026. Learn the games and see all the details at bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Big personalities, bold opinions, lunch just got louder. Josie, Matt, and Leon are XL Prime Time from the big #1 Duval Ford Studios.
Any questions? Yeah, when's lunch?
Noon to 2 on 1010 XL.
Game days aren't the only win happening in the 904. Best of Bold City named 904 Gutters with a Z, the #1 seamless gutter company in Duval. Like the team's O-line protects their QB. Call the winning team at 904 Gutters with a Z to protect your home from the rain.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach. This is the home of the Florida Gators. Get your Gators hoops on 1010 XL. Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah, Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville, and Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Hey, it's Travis from Cannons of Jacks. Thank you for trusting us for 55 years of custom welding fabrication and vehicle towing accessories. When you need a trailer hitch for the family car, a gooseneck for the company truck, or even RV towing options, call us at Cannons. We can do a bumper hitch, fifth wheel hitch, anything for safe, reliable towing. Come to Cannons of Jacks, where service is our #1 priority and we treat our customers as we like to be treated. Check us out online, cannonsofjacks.com.
I'm with Brett from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when the weather starts to shift a little bit, especially during the fall, you've got some really cool stuff from Honda Off-Road.
We do. It's favorite time of the year for me. Nice little chill in the air. We've got some side-by-sides. We've got the ATVs. Of course, they're legendary dirt bikes. We've got it all.
And for the hunter?
Oh, we've got side-by-sides that work and play.
All right, so make sure you check it out. Showroom wide open for you on Atlantic near Regency. If you want to go off-road and have some fun, check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Low mortgage rates are back. Listen, Loan Pronto has fixed rate mortgages with APRs as low as 4.89%. It's the lowest in years. Hey, gang, Prosser here. Smart homeowners are taking advantage of this while they can. If you got stuck in a 6% loan, you can lower your payment big time. Or you can keep your primary mortgage intact, get cash out, equity with Loan Pronto's rapid equity loans. One homeowner just got $250,000 out of their home. They paid off all their credit cards, some car loans, and cut their monthly expense by $2,000. Call now. See what option works best for you, but don't miss this big rate drop of 2026. Ask about new home loans, VA loans, full cash out refis, or their famous rapid equity loan. You can close in less than 2 weeks. You may be able to skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call 904-999-1508 or visit loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull. 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. APR for well-qualified buyers.
Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Local sports update brought to you by Kuhn Flowers. On Wednesday night, the 19th ranked Gators set a program record for the team's largest SEC road win in history by defeating the South Carolina Gamecocks 95-48. They're back in action against number 23 Alabama this Sunday in the O-Dome, tipping off at 1 o'clock and airing on 10:10 a.m. It is currently 65 degrees at 3:01 time and temp, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
I've told you before, this song was always played at 5 p.m. on Fridays, or 6 p.m., depending on how long the Frangie show was, every week at that time. So it was like we only had 1 hour to go in the show, and then you'd hear Zach Brown Band's Chicken Fried, and you'd know we are almost at quitting time. So now when I hear this song, even if it's like a Monday morning, it's in my brain like it's almost quitting time. That's right. Pop top. Here we go. All right, let's get into some NFL and Jaguars conversation. We know that the Super Bowl is featuring two teams that are stacked with good rosters, so certainly the Seahawks and the Patriots. And no, I don't have their blue chip ratios as far as 4 and 5 stars or transfer portal rankings by any means. But we wanted to look into guys that are free agents that are playing in the Super Bowl, so that way fans can keep their eyes on them as far as guys we would want to be Jacksonville Jaguars. So on the free agent list that I pulled up, the top one that's available as far as on these two rosters specifically, Seahawks cornerback Tariq Woolen. As most people know, Tariq Woolen was the one that had the taunting penalty, and if the Seahawks had lost the game, he would have been certainly a hated figure for the Seattle team. But outside of the penalties, Tariq Woolen's a really good corner.
Yeah, he is. His completion rate against last year was 54.2%, so pretty darn good. He's kind of known for giving up big plays, but then making big plays as well. So it's like a risk-reward type thing. But I like his attitude. I like his size. I like that he's physical. I don't know what we're going to do at corner. I feel like we may not have to do anything except maybe draft, a couple young guys.
Well, you have Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
You have Buster Brown. That's a question mark as far as whether or not you're going to keep him.
Jordan Lewis will be back.
You have Jordan Lewis, who's your
Jarian.
nickel. You definitely have Jarian Jones, who's either a nickel or an outside, just depending on what you need. But I do feel like they need more depth there.
Yeah,
I think their question, if Travis Hunter is a full-time corner and if he
Right.
stays healthy, then certainly you're better at that position. If he's not a full-time corner
Then
or
you
if he
might need a
doesn't
guy
stay
like
healthy,
this guy.
then I do think you need a guy like this because you never want an NFL defense, college for that matter either, but we talk way more as far as like NFL rosters. You never want a quarterback to be able to pick on one of your corners over and over and over again.
Yep.
And so even if Travis Hunter's great and they stay away from him,
Right.
you don't want them going after another guy.
Absolutely. But Buster can handle that role, and I think Jarian
If
can
he's
handle
back.
that role.
Yeah,
If
you got to
he's
re-sign
back.
him.
Yeah,
That's
you got to
the
re-sign
question.
him. And what kind of number is he
Yep.
gonna warrant out there? But Jarian, I feel good about. I think he could handle that role. We know Jordan Lewis can play both if need be. Again, you're gonna address the position. Do you need a big time free agent, to add to the roster? I guess the caveat is Travis. Is he going to be healthy enough to go? If they feel like yes, then no, I'm not going to go after a guy like Woolen. I'll build it through the draft. But if maybe I question it, I might need a guy like that.
And how expensive is Rick Woolen going to be versus what
True.
you are willing to spend and things like that. All right, next up on the list, Seattle Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III. I think most people would say Kenneth Walker's great.
Yeah.
The problem is he's going to cost even
lot of
more
money.
than Travis Etienne.
Yeah, I'm going to say no.
It's funny. A lot of lists I've seen have Travis Etienne ranked higher than Kenneth Walker on their rankings of the free agents. So it will be interesting to see the two numbers those guys get. I think Kenneth Walker being deep into the postseason is going to help him on that end. I love Kenneth Walker. But yeah, I think if you're talking about not wanting to overpay, feel like you're overpaying a running back right now here in Jacksonville, and one that's familiar with your system and your quarterback and all of that, then you're probably not going to do that elsewhere.
But he had over 1,000 yards, but obviously was splitting carries with
yeah.
Zach Charbonnet, and then he had 2 receiving touchdowns and 282 yards. But again, you're splitting that. So that's where to me, that's really impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a wash. Like if you're going to move on from Etienne, then move on and keep your
Go
guys
younger.
and then go younger.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, Kenneth might be a little bit younger, maybe. I think they're about the same age, actually. I think Kenneth is 27. Etienne seems to be about 26, somewhere around there.
Kenneth Walker was born in the year 2000, so he's 26.
26. I think Etienne brings a lot in the pass game. So I wouldn't, if I'm getting rid of Travis Etienne Jr., I'm not replacing him with Kenneth Walker III or any back
I get that.
in that matter.
All right, Seahawks safety Kobe Bryant.
I like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
I've been very vocal about the safeties, I feel like, for a year. And I think that part of that, we don't know what something when it comes to Caleb Bransaw, what that's going to look like. Antonio Johnson stepped up big this year. We've talked a ton about that. I wasn't, and I'm not a fan of Eric Murray, but this regime got him, and they seem like they like him a lot. So I think some of those conversations this offseason are going to dictate for me where they go with that. But I would have a conversation about Kobe Bryant personally, and I don't know the money that he's going to be asking about. But one of the things I saw about them, he's played the most snaps among the Seattle defenders this season, allowing only a 59% completion percentage through the year. And he's just one of those guys that I feel like that's what you get. You're not getting a ton of takeaways and all the flashy stuff, but what you're getting is a lot of PBUs, and the quarterbacks will target him, but they're not completing a lot of their completion percentage is pretty low when they target him.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Antonio Johnson's one of my safeties, so I just got to figure out the other one.
I think it's Eric Murray for the here and now.
He did have 4 picks, by the way, but it's not his normal.
Until Caleb Ransaw,
And we don't know about Caleb yet, but the hope is he can step right in there. But, I think we're okay at safety. I'd spend my money elsewhere, but I do like him. He's a really good player. But I think with Ransaw, Murray, Wingard probably won't be back, but you can find some guys in the draft. You still got Lane the third.
Ray and Lane.
Ray and Lane. But you got Antonio Johnson. To me, he's like a star in the making. I think he's just going to get better. I think Camp coming back's even really good for him. He showed that he can play. He always had the talent. Just putting it together. But I think Antonio Johnson's on his way up. I think he's, if I had to pick right now, he's one of my safeties.
The interesting part with Caleb Ransom, we talked about this when he was drafted, but because he got hurt and was season ending, we haven't talked that much about it since. But he played corner at Tulane, not safety. Yeah. And so obviously they were going to teach him how to play safety in the NFL. Yeah. But then he has been out with that season.
He played he was more nickel, I think, like a nickel.
He played a lot of
type
nickel,
thing, yeah. But anyway, regardless, he's not. Was never a really full-time safety. Doesn't mean he can't do it, you know. But just got to see him.
But are you ready to put all your eggs in
chips into that? Yeah. And missing a year,
right? Yeah. But look, they loved him. That's why they drafted him as high as they did in the 3rd round.
I would take my chips with him, Murray, and then whoever I draft, probably, as long as Antonio's my other guy.
So then probably also not going to take him to skip to the Patriots safety, Jalen Hawkins. Same conversation.
I don't know.
I like Bryant better than Hawkins.
Yeah, me too.
All right, Seahawks wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. I love him.
I
loved him when he was with the Saints. His return ability is just unbelievable. He's so dynamic. The Seahawks traded for him from the Saints. And the Saints obviously traded away Brandon Cooks, as we saw to the Bills, and then Shaheed to the Seahawks. I don't think the Jaguars are going to acquire Shaheed. I would love him here to have him in the mix as far as having both Parker Washington and Shaheed back there to return punts, and then having him as a receiving threat too. He's super fast. I would love that, but I don't
kick
think
returns,
it's
he
gonna
punt
happen.
returns, he does everything. But I don't think that's the route you go right now.
I don't either, but it sure is
I love
enticing.
it.
Because of the speed, that you put him out there, even on with your guys that you have already on the roster, wide receiver. He just adds another.
Take
element.
De'Ami Brown off, put Rashid Shaheed on. And he's got just a great story too. Like he's overcome a lot in his life, and so I would love him to be in the mix. He's an intangibly rich type of guy.
I think he earned himself some money this year.
Unfortunately, I think so too. And to your point earlier, once you're playing this deep in the postseason, you're going to have even more eyes on you and all focused on just you. All right, Seahawks defensive end Boye Mafe. That's the last one.
He's on my list. For the right price, situational, come off the bench and just rush the passer. Yeah, I would. If there's, if you're not going to get, which you're not, Max or Trey or. I would love either one of them. I would give it all up for both of them. But for a guy to help you in the pass rush off the bench, he could fit pretty decently.
Had 2 sacks this season, so not a ton of production there.
No, but he's been known to get around the edge. He's not going to be your starter. You're not expecting him to, but you need a guy that all he does is come off the bench and rush the
pass rusher. Yeah. And then 2 guys that missed missed the Super Bowl, but we've talked about Broncos defensive tackle John Franklin Myers.
Yes, I want him.
We are all
sign me up.
Yeah, all in on him. And then Rams safety Cameron Curl. If they needed a safety, I like Cam Curl. Yeah. But we'll see certainly what James Gladstone decides.
There's another Alex Singleton's another one that he's a little older, 32, but him and John Franklin Myers, I'm a fan of both of them. Obviously, John Franklin Myers, when you talk about interior, how much have we had the conversation about that interior, the pressures and the pass rush? He had 42 pressures and 7.5 sacks from the interior this year. That is what you want out of an interior defensive lineman. And then Alex Singleton, I just feel like is one of those guys. Like he's been doing it for a long time, and I feel like you're not talking about, I don't know what his contract's going to look like. And so that will be fascinating to see what someone pays him or if he ends up staying, because he is 32 and will be 33 this year, but he's just so good and he's appealing to me.
I didn't know he was that old, because he runs great.
I know.
He could fly, that guy. Franklin Myers, to me, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Not just this year, even 2 years ago, he had 7 sacks from the interior with Denver. So, he's quite the player, but he'd be high on the list.
I totally agree. Singleton's most recent deal was 3 years, $18 million. Okay. So not saying he's going to get something more than that or necessarily.
Yeah, he had the most tackles on the team with 135 this year.
He's
and 14 in the postseason.
Yeah, and he hits hard. He's a big hitter. Flies to the football, relentless. I mean, look, I don't know. You could probably say a Lewican's pretty close to him in that regard. You know what I mean? If you compared the two.
Yeah,
So.
and Foyers will be here this season despite some crazy circumstance for sure. All right, more to do on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. Backed by Green Law Group on 1010XL. Passionate about the First Coast.
I understand how you feel, that passion.
Share the passion.
And sharing it with other people. I think that's what life's about.
1010XL.
When you're a little kid on the playground, they tell you don't hit back. Well, the courtroom isn't a playground. And if you've suffered an injury or death in your family, I'm here to tell you it's okay to hit back and fight to make them pay. I'm attorney Brett Hastings, and at Hastings Injury Law, we understand all the pain and emotion that comes with being wrong. And we've dedicated our lives to making things right for people like you. So if you get hit back with Hastings Injury Law. Offices, Jacksonville.
Hey Jacksonville, this is Dr. George Barry, your local orthopedic surgeon. In the wintertime here in Jacksonville, it does get pretty cold, and sometimes you wake up with aches and pains in your shoulders and knees. Don't forget to stretch and stay mobilized so these joints don't stiffen up. And if that doesn't work, you can see us at Barry Orthopedics, where we can give you the treatment that you need.
Be sure and check out the expertise from Dr. George Barry and the entire staff at BarryOrthopedics.com. That's BAHRI Orthopedics.com.
Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, congratulating our Scholar Athlete of the Week, Kendall Dixon, senior soccer and lacrosse player at Atlantic Coast High. Kendall is a member of the National English and Science Honor Societies and is president of the National Honor Society. Congratulations, Kendall.
Give a unique gift this Valentine's Day to that special person in your life with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
If a birthday or anniversary is looming in your immediate future, take care of it today by ordering a floral arrangement online at CuneFlowers.com. You'll be the star of their day. This is Frank Frangie. Take it from me. An arrangement from Cune Flowers works like magic.
Are you ready for another historic season at the bank? It's time to lock in your seats for 2026 by placing your deposit now. Next season will be played at Everbank Stadium, but seating capacity is limited due to in-bowl renovations, and spots are going fast. Don't miss out on your chance to see the season's biggest matchups and highlight real moments by placing your deposit at Jaguars.com/tickets or by calling 904-633-2000. Go Jags!
The Florida Forum welcomes former Russian political prisoner and Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Vladimir Kara-Murza at the Center of Performing Arts. Hear his powerful story of courage, imprisonment, and freedom, February 3rd. All proceeds for the Florida Forum benefit the Women's Board of Wolfson Children's Hospital, supporting a new outdoor play area for behavioral health services. Still to come, Chef Jose Andres on March 31st. Get your tickets now at thefloridaforum.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
There was cold.
Taylor Doll, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you.
This was a trick for you, wasn't it?
I was just trying to figure out who this is, and I don't
So
know
it's Taylor Swift, but it's a cover of, because I like Taylor Swift songs, but I don't like her. So a lot of the, I like her like lyrics and musically, but I just don't like the way they sound when she does them.
Okay.
So I have several oh gosh, I almost knocked my microphone. Several Taylor Swift's covers on my phone, and this is one of those.
Okay. Yeah. And who is this?
I honestly am not sure. It's just like, it was on like a Punk Goes cover,
Okay.
Punk Goes Country or Punk, like they have all different versions of one of those, and it was one of those vibes. But
It's funny every time a song comes out, we're all like, what is this one?
Yes, because we have to figure out, is it
I
connected
was
to a
waiting to
theme?
see if it was that version or her. I was like, is it my version or did somebody put the normal one on here?
The normal.
Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, while you look for that, we will do Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane. Opened up by Closets by Design. Imagine your home totally organized.
Brad and I are headed to Gainesville on Sunday and super excited to head to the O'Connell Center and see Florida play host to Alabama in men's basketball. And I am just so excited to hear what the Rowdy Reptiles come up with for Charles Bediako, the Alabama player who, back when he entered the NBA draft was in 2023, and he was granted that temporary
wild
restraining order by the judge so that he could play. And then the most recent thing I read was that the judge extended it. But the Rowdy Reptiles are known for trying to get, like most student sections, right? Trying to get into the head of certain people. They've done some that have not necessarily been ideal. Most recently, they were saying things to Mike White and his family, the former Florida head coach, that's now the Georgia head coach, you shouldn't say. But keeping it in the lane of like fun stuff, like Bediako should not be playing college basketball right now. We know that. So I will report back on Monday.
I can't wait
what
for that.
What the antics unfold to be there.
He's allowed to play now because the order's still in
because
place.
the Alabama booster judge said
it was
yes,
okay.
You're allowed to play.
Crazy.
Even though, he was in the NBA draft in 2023.
I was telling Lauren yesterday, I saw somebody on Twitter that posted, it was like when with Giannis and all the rumors of him possibly getting traded, someone was like, wild idea, Alabama, go get your guy.
And granted, Bediako's not Giannis, but still, it's a ridiculous thing. And so at the end of the day, I'm just going to
get him then.
Yeah, I'm just going to hopefully come back with a victory as Florida obviously waxed the court with South Carolina up in South Carolina the other night.
Yeah.
And so hopefully Florida rides that momentum, continues to play well. And you'd think, well, Florida has home court advantage, clearly, but Florida was at home last Saturday against Auburn and things did not go according to plan then.
It's gotten so odd. I mean, you shouldn't be 26, 7 years old in any college sport. That's just ridiculous. And then you went into the pro already, and then you get to come back. That's just couldn't cut in the pro, so little Johnny needs a chance to go back.
Little Johnny,
to college,
try this college thing again.
You poor kid. You just couldn't do it up there. Just come on back down. It's all good.
Yeah, someone tweeted out Florida should have Walter Clayton and Elijah Martin and Will Richard all come back and chase after that second back-to-back natty. Why not?
We got boosters that'll match your salary. Just come on back.
Right, exactly. Speaking of basketball, tonight, RJ Saunders, the Orlando Magic take on Toronto Raptors. Game tipping off at 7 p.m. and folks can hear that right here on the Superstation, 10:10 a.m. and the AM stream. Are you excited?
Definitely am excited. It's an opportunity for the Magic to probably string a couple of good games together here before the trading deadline and the All-Star break. Huge win against Miami just a couple of nights ago. Definitely needed that one when you were on a 4 or 5 game losing skid. There's questions now being had. What's Jamal Mosley's future, which still could be in question. We don't know, but a nationally televised game on ESPN. I believe this is a great opportunity for the Magic to show the rest of the NBA and show the national basketball world just kind of what they're doing down there in City Beautiful. Let's see if they can close out, these final games before the All-Star break, if they can string a couple of games together, get healthy, get Franz Wagner back, see what they can do in the second half.
We're not falling apart, rest of the NBA. That's what you're hoping, or that's what they're hoping. By the way, I don't think we can call Orlando. I know they want to be called City Beautiful. I don't think we can call them that.
I don't think.
Where'd that come from anyway?
I don't know. Anytime I've talked to Dante Marchitelli, who is the sideline reporter, also the pregame and postgame host for the Orlando Magic. Anytime I talk to him, Whether that was on Open Gym or on This Magic Moment or whatever, he's always saying City Beautiful. He's never said the O. He's never said Orlando. He just says here in City Beautiful. So I've gone ahead and I've run with
City
that
of
too.
Concrete. That's what it is. The city of concrete.
I feel like Mickey Mouse made that one up.
Yeah, O-Town, I've certainly heard that. Yeah, they don't have the Intercoastal and the beach and the St. John's River, so they're not City Beautiful. They are City of Concrete.
Fun to party in, though.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big
Is
Disney person.
there a place that's not fun to party in?
For me?
Yeah.
I could go anywhere.
That's what I mean. Like, as long as you have the right...
I'm a chameleon.
Right,
I can do
right
anything.
people or by yourself.
That's right.
Live
No
music
problem.
or no live music.
That's
As long
right.
as there's
music in my head, regardless.
Well, that is something I would
Regardless.
never argue. Also, speaking of basketball, last night JU did beat Lipscomb at home,
nice.
70-65, and then JU plays Florida Gulf host to Florida Gulf host tomorrow at 3 p.m. And of course, you can hear that game right here on 1010 XL 92.5 FM. The pregame coverage will begin at 2:45 tomorrow, and then
So they have 4 or 5 now. Have they won 4 or 5?
They
I thought I
have
heard Hayes
won-
yesterday say something. They were 3 or
Yes,
4. I
JU
thought,
has
before
won
that?
4 of 5 because JU beat North Alabama.
Yeah.
They destroyed North Alabama 90-68. They lost to Bellarmine, and then they beat Eastern Kentucky and beat Lipscomb. And then UNF on the flip side, because of course they always flip the teams that they play in the ASUN. So North Florida unfortunately lost to Stetson last night, 84-77. So then North Florida will play host to Lipscomb tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Okay.
So if you like college basketball, D1 college basketball, go to Swisher tomorrow, go to UNF Arena, and you'll get to see UNF take on Lipscomb there. And then when it comes to back to Florida basketball, everybody can hear that game right here on 92.5 FM, 1010 XL and 92.5 FM on Sunday. The game tips off at 1, but our pregame coverage begins at 12:30. And then, of course, Sunday, also more magic for you, 4 p.m. tip-off.
Is Alabama ranked? What's their basketball season
Ben
looking like so
yeah,
far?
Alabama's ranked 23rd.
Okay. Should be a good
And
game.
Florida, I think, is
17?
16
17?
right now. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it should be a
That'll be
really
fun, yeah.
really fun game,
Mhm.
especially, like I said, because there's more stuff to it. Todd Golden recently
Yeah,
at Gator
yeah.
Talk, talking in front of fans, said, like, we'll beat them anyways, even after Bediako's on the team. I was listening to the Frangie show yesterday, and they were interviewing UNF head coach Bobby Kennan, who, of course, was the assistant, one of the assistants under Matthew Driscoll. And then when he left, he took over, and they asked him about Charles Bediako. Hayes did. And I loved Bobby Kennan's response. He was like, well, coaches are kind of taught to find every loophole that they can, not trying to cheat by any means, but to use the rules as they exist.
That's their
And
advantage,
so
yeah.
this is right now the way that the rule book is organized, and the NCAA isn't stopping it. So, you got to do what you got to do, I suppose, if you're Nate Oates.
Well, somebody on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures texted in and said, F the NBA. That rule might help Gators one day. SEC is pro sports anyways.
Yeah, I
Not
mean,
wrong.
listen, it's the loophole. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's ethically, but more, I just like, no, go to Canada or something.
Go to
Go to
Canada.
Europe. Play in the European League if you can't make it in the NBA.
Well, and there are guys, like including Urban
ridiculous.
Klobjar, who have been pro players, but never in the end, like they were never
Yeah.
drafted in the NBA.
Yeah,
by any means.
like went overseas and then came
Right.
back.
Then there's lots of guys like that,
Yeah.
and then the NCAA
Yeah.
allows them to play.
They should just have a limit of age on college sports. I think it's gotten way out of hand. I mean, listen, if you're 25, you're supposed to be better than 21. I look at myself, you know, like 25 to 21. My 25, I would run circles around my 21.
Yeah.
And then 28 to 25 was different too. You know, it's just you're different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then you're playing against, and that doesn't mean like 21-year-olds can't hang with 28-year-olds. I don't mean it like that, because there's plenty that can, but the majority, it's different.
Well, and I know,
It's a
like,
lot
for
different.
instance, college football, you're talking about 18 to 22 is what we've always said. 18-year-olds
Right.
to 22-year-olds. But yeah, now you have 23, 24, 25-year-olds.
7.
Yeah.
Right. Your body is totally
everything's
matured at that point in
Yeah.
time. And yeah, it's difficult for an 18-year-old to then win a job over a guy that's already played in that system for years.
Think of 18 to 24.
Yeah.
6 years.
years.
That's massive in that time of a man's life.
Yeah.
From 18 to 24. It's night and day different.
For sure. Women too.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
right.
I
Yeah,
graduated
sure.
college at the age of 21, and I didn't graduate in 3 years. I
Right.
started when I was 17
Yeah.
because I
Mhm.
started at summer, and then I graduated at 21. Like, there are guys that are still in school at 25 and 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Competing.
competing in sports, not just being a grad assistant.
Right.
Like, it's fine if you want to graduate, go to grad school,
for
and then be a GA and work your way in the college ranks.
It's also weird to me in general, like the age is weird, but also getting drafted into the NBA and your mindset of wanting to go back and play with college. Like, that also is kind of strange to me too.
For sure.
And I know, like, some of these guys, they just want to play basketball, so whatever way they can play basketball, you could do it. But, like, you already made it into the NBA and you were drafted into the NBA, and you're going back into, like, it's like going back into that relationship that's, like, just comfortable for you, but probably not the best for you.
And your friends are like, no, please not again. Like, I already shared with you how I felt about that person. You can't go back because now I look like a jerk and it's not my fault. You told me that you had broken up. Clearly, I've been down that road before with some other people. All right, more to do on the other side, including the golden moment. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels from the Greenlaw Group Studios. Your home for Florida Gators basketball is 1010XL.
There's a top 25 tension brewing in the swamp. Florida, Alabama, Sunday at 1 on 1010XL.
Frank Brady here. This month marks a big milestone for Nimnick Chevrolet. 85 years of serving Jacksonville since 1941. Nimnick's been more than a dealership. It's part of the community. 4 generations of families, thousands of vehicles sold, and a reputation built on doing things the right way. When you hear nobody but Nimnick, that's 85 years of trust behind it. If you bought a car from Nimnick, serviced one, or participated in one of the causes, you're part of the legacy. So stop by and celebrate 85 years with Nimnick, corner of Park and Cassett. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Hey guys, Taylor Dahl here from Helmets and Heels. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, let Peterbrook Chocolatier make your shopping experience a little bit easier this year. Locally owned and operated with quality ingredients from truffles and hand-dipped strawberries to my personal favorite, chocolate-covered popcorn. This holiday, they also have custom gift baskets perfect for your loved one. Make sure to pre-order between now and February 2nd at peterbrook.com. That's peterbrook.com. Peterbrook Chocolatier, celebrating 40 years of chocolate.
Checkmate. I'm Brendan Cecilia, founder of Checkmate Coatings.
And I'm Chester, the adorable chessman on the tracks.
There are 2 things you should ask yourself about your garage floor. How clean is it now, and how clean would you like it to be? A typical bare concrete floor doesn't just collect dirt, it makes dirt.
It is literally made of dirt.
As much as you sweep and mop, the dust and grit just never ends.
And drips from your car seep into the pores, staining the concrete forever.
A Checkmate multi-layer floor resists drips and stains. It comes in your choice of dozens of colors and sweeps up sparkling clean in just seconds.
No need to wear shoes in the garage and track dirt back in the house.
Gorgeous?
Check. Durable?
Check. Tidy enough to walk on wearing clean white socks? Checkmate. Transforming your floors, making them great. Checkmate. Visit checkmatecoatings.com. That's checkmatecoatings.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
The Jacksonville Icemen are in town for a pair of games this Saturday and Sunday. Saturday at 7, it's Star Wars night. Whether you support the Rebel Alliance or the Empire, come out for a night of fun as the Icemen wear special themed Star Wars jerseys. Then Sunday at 3, it's Publix Family Fun Day. Take a shot on goal on the ice after the game. Tickets at Ticketmaster, JacksonvilleIcemen.com, or call 904-602-PUCK. Icemen hockey is #Sub-Zero.
Looking for a great way to give back and enjoy some friendly competition? Join us for Operation New Uniforms Veterans Cup on Friday, April 10th. This competitive clay shoot tournament is a fun afternoon on the range, followed by awards, a reception, and time to connect with others who care about supporting veterans. Your participation helps Operation New Uniform empower veterans, transitioning service members, and military spouses as they move into meaningful careers. Put your teams together and join us on April 10th. Register today at onuvets.org. That's onuvets.org.
This is Garrett Scantling, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for any orthopedic issue you have. I'm back to my Olympic training, and I feel great.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. Went smooth as silk, was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the Monahan's golden moment. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach, your local family jewelers.
We had some fun stuff today. We're still trying to solve the world of college football here on Helmets and Heels.
We took a step closer.
We're getting there. We've tried to figure out the rankings and how to rank the teams better. Now we're figuring out how to combine the recruiting rankings and the portal rankings to get a true ranking of what the team is.
Shocking, no one emailed me for this spreadsheet.
People, I'm sure, honestly, I think a lot of people are trying to find a way to have true rankings because it does feel like that's why I think in part, number one, you can't, especially previous years, when you're putting out a ranking at this point in time, there's still another portal. We're still going to see kids move around and transfer and other things were happening. You hadn't had the spring games yet, so you don't even know what the new quarterbacks are looking like. There's so many new coaches. So at this time of year, it was so hard to predict, and people would still put out, like, here's the strength of schedule for next year. Like, you don't know what the strength of schedule is because you don't know what any of these teams are going to look like, especially at this point in time. And so I do think that there has to be a better way, or at least a sense, and because they're not going to stop the preseason rankings because that keeps college football relevant throughout the offseason of my team's ranked here, and that gets the excitement into week 0 and week 1 of, my team is, top 25 or this team should be top 25, whatever the case may be. And so those aren't going away. So if you can have at least something that feels a little more validated, maybe people will understand it a little more. And something like this, when it goes to combining, you have to add in the portal. You just have to at this point in time when it comes to the strength of schedules, when it comes to how strong these teams are right now. And so if you don't have that included, it's just not giving you a real idea of what anybody actually is.
Well, and it's a great tool to hold your coaches accountable. We're top 10 in both. What are you doing? Why aren't we, top 10 on the field every single time?
If you're top 15 in both, you should be in the college football playoff year in and year out. And
barring injury and things like that. But for the most part, you
have a stacked roster. Why aren't you winning? And look, I think I'm not saying that Scott Strickland, for Florida's purposes, looked at these data points and said, Billy Napier, you're fired because, you have a good roster and you're not winning. No, he obviously was fired for lots of different reasons. But when you do pour the resources into a program, which is what Florida did. They gave him all the assistant coaches that he wanted. They certainly gave him everything he needed in terms of money for facilities and everything. And then you aren't winning. Well, there's a reason for that, and the reason is you. Yeah. Because Kurt Cignetti, and I know you can't just all of a sudden have an Alabama pop up somewhere else. But if a team like Indiana can win with the roster that's not in comparison to these or comparable to these, then other coaches, you're going to be held to a higher standard.
Yeah, you could probably too, use an Indiana as an example, break down how's their ranking at QB, at tackle, at DB. They seem to have a couple of really good ones. At wide receiver, they seem to have one or two that were.
Elijah Surratt was highly rated, but Charlie Becker, they told the story in the broadcast of the national championship game. This is a guy that wasn't even getting playing time to start this season, and then all of a sudden is one of the best wide receivers and really helped them win that game with that third down catch, fourth down catch,
which goes to show you just never know till you get them all out there and figure it out, get them playing
and playing in the right place. Too.
But we have no idea what each roster is going to look like. You used to know, pretty much every year, you knew the top probably 25 teams in the country. Their rosters were either A+ or they're rebuilding. That was pretty much all there was to it. The Penn State's under Joe Paterno's or the FSU's under Bobby Bowden, or the list goes on. You knew what their roster was, and they always had an upperclassman quarterback unless they were in that rebuilding phase. And then they got a couple years to rework things, and then you expected them to be right back in the mix. mix.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you were seeing the longevity of the coaches back then look a little different too.
Way
And the
different.
patience level a lot lower nowadays because, and it almost is unfair in a sense of, okay, where we're pretty much having to rebuild a roster. Some of these schools every single year, if you're one of the schools that are using the portal, every single year you're starting from scratch almost and having to rebuild that. And so giving somebody, but then somebody like Signetti does what he does and they're like, well, he can do it. So you can get us winning in a couple years.
And it's not that easy.
No, it's not. Definitely not. And then you take it to the NFL. I mean, look, the salary cap goes up every year, but those owners are still doling out a lot of cash, to build the team that they're expecting to win a championship. Now, when you don't, you got to start unloading some of that talent and some of those contracts. That's not the same in college football because they don't really have a cap per se, I guess. But it's interesting. Like the patience is thin on both levels. Like you got 3 years to show that you're a legitimate contender into the playoffs or into the college football playoff. And, you get paid enough. So who cares? You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're, underpaid or something like that. But the pressure's on, but so what? Like, here we go, and you get all the resources that you need for the most part. I mean, you look at Liam Cohen and he's whatever you need. You know what I mean? Whatever you need. And then how did he repay the owner? By having a 13-win season. How do we repay him next year? We do something in the playoffs and make some damage or get to the big show. Who knows what happens? But every year they're doling out money. Some more than others.
Sure.
There's some owners that won't do it.
Very cheap.
Yeah, they don't take care of their players like they should, or at least not all of them like they should. So, the pressure's on and got to get it done.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you're paying for. You're paying for a championship.
And if you're not getting that return on investment, then that's when you move on. And that's why we saw 10 different open coaching jobs in the NFL this year, which is a
major coaches being
third
fired.
Of them.
Major with great records.
Yeah.
Great records.
Or mutually parting
Yeah.
ways.
And the college football coaches we saw get fired this year, too.
Yeah.
Like just the group of those.
So I've got some college football salaries in front of me. This is from October of this past year. So October 2025. So if anything's changed since then, that I don't have that.
Okay.
But Kirby Smart, you would estimate, is the highest paid or one of the highest paid. He is. I would have guessed before looking at this list that Kirby makes somewhere between like $10 and $11 million per year.
I was going to say 12.
Okay.
I'd say 20.
No, 13 million. Though.
Okay,
I knew it was a little. It's lower than NFL coaches. But obviously, 13 million in comparison to even 10 years ago is wild.
Oh yes.
Ohio State. Ryan Day makes 12.5 million per year. Lincoln Riley 11.5. So right now, as we went through all the rosters earlier, Lincoln Riley is underperforming, or his team is underperforming for that salary. Dabo Swinney, 11.2 million.
Awesome.
He has natties.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It's been
as
a
you
while.
project the
It's been a
he
while.
has, and as you project the future, do you really think he's going to win another natty? We shall see. Steve Sarkisian with Texas, 10.8 million. Dan Lanning at Oregon, 10.4. So again, Phil Knight's going to be wondering why Oregon's not winning any natties.
Yeah, and the buyouts on top of that, right? If they had to get rid of Knight. So
absolutely.
they're like, that's where they got to stop. And all the coaches like, shut up.
Yeah.
There's too much guaranteed
Whoever negotiated
money,
the first buyout in college football, that agent, probably Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, right.
Kalen DeBoer is 7th with 10.2 million. Brian Kelly, so again, this was when he was the head coach of LSU, 10.1. Belichick,
That worked out
10,
well.
Yeah, exactly. Belichick, 10 million is 9th, and then finally Lane Kiffin, when he was at Ole Miss, made 9 million per year. So we know LSU paid him more than that.
Oh yeah.
Probably probably close to what Kirby's making. 13
to the
million.
highest paid. I would.
And
imagine.
I want to say that Kurt Signetti, since October, did get a new deal. He's one
he
of the
did
highest
because
paid.
he was he has like 90 million guaranteed or something
93.
like that.
Right, that's right. Yeah, it's
approximately 11.6 million per year. Yeah, if I had told you kind of like 20 years ago, for instance, so this would have been 2006. Back when Florida was actually good and winning college football national titles, as a matter of fact, that was the second one.
Tim
If I had
Tebow
told
would be
you-
making a lot of NIL money. I'll tell you
100%.
that.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure he still makes profits from college.
no
But
doubt.
if I had told you Indiana is going to pay their head football coach 11.6, Indiana of all schools is going to pay their head football coach 11.6 million, which back in 2006 would have been insane.
3 years ago would have been insane.
Yeah.
Also,
You know what I mean? I mean, think about it.
well,
Like,
yeah, the Indiana part of it.
Indiana,
yeah.
they weren't doing anything prior to 2 years ago. You know, they were middle of the road in the Big Ten.
Urban made $2 million per year by a quick Google search in 2006 when he was the head coach at Florida.
Wow.
If
That
I'm
team
Urban
right now, like if you were to transfer that Florida team with Urban to now,
the amount of NIL dollars,
yeah,
oh my
dollars that they'd be
gosh.
spending, and Urban would definitely be up there with Kirby and
Urban would
making that
probably
13, 14.
be requesting like $20 million a year, and the team would be getting paid like $50 million a year.
Yeah.
That is
that's
so
being
crazy.
reported. Who knows what they get on,
Right.
other stuff. I'm sure they get plenty.
The
Maybe not
revenue
cash,
sharing is
but-
actually capped. The
Maybe not
NIL is,
cash, yeah.
the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
That we have no idea. All right, Pest of the Day on the other side. Keep it right here. Helmets and Heels, 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels.
Protected by
Green Law Group. For the insured. Fighting for you.
Live streaming from the XL Digital Studios. Brightened by Harbor Dental Care, Jacksonville's first choice for dental emergencies.
Brian and Angela Wall here with Window World. By now, everyone has heard about saving money on their energy bills. There are all sorts of things you can do to cut energy costs, but most people don't think about their windows.
But Window World knows that the biggest energy loss in almost every home is the windows. There is more energy loss from old builder-grade windows than just about anything else in your home.
You can upgrade your heating and air, your appliances, that's good too. But before you do all that, upgrade your windows to Window World's energy-efficient windows.
Window World's windows are easy to clean, energy efficient, and have the best guarantee in the business.
Window World's slogan is simply the best for less, and we mean it. You get great American-made windows, and you get to keep more of your money when you buy from Window World. Need any more reasons to buy your windows from Window World? Call them today and set up your free in-home estimate, or go online to windowworldneflorida.com.
Window
World,
World,
simply the best for less. Thank you for your business.
Window World also offers energy-efficient doors.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Bueller.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, is that a turtleneck? Can't you feel it, Jason? There's a chill in the air, a definite nip. I mean, it is January. In Jacksonville, Jason. I didn't come here for cold. Well, I wouldn't call this. Cold weather gives me the sniffles. Sniffles turns to pneumonia. Suddenly, I'm in a hospital bed with a tube down my throat because Florida didn't get the memo about ignoring winter. So, switch over to heat. What if my system can't remember how to heat? Dude, put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing can make sure your system is ready to switch from cooling to heat. We'll clean your heating coil to get rid of that burning dust smell and make sure you have the coolant pressure to keep your heat pump pumping out the heat. Huh, I had no idea these sunglasses worked in the winter.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Frank Frangie here, and Big Chief Tire makes it easier than ever to get the tires you need with the Big Chief credit card. No annual fee, low monthly payments, and great promotional financing. Plus, you get free flat repairs and rotations, and right now, $50 off your first purchase when you sign up. I love how simple they make everything. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com to apply for the credit card and get the tires you need today. That's Big Chief Tire.
Be the first to discover the best new home community in beautiful Green Cove Springs. Highland Trail, where the rhythm of life slows down. Enjoy green spaces, luxury pools, pickleball courts, winding trails, and more at livehighlandtrail.com. Choose from 3 premium builders, just starting in the 300s.
Oh, at Highland Trail.
Attention skilled electricians. Are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experience, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
I feel like if you were putting an over-under on how long kickers would be open and when I would go, it would be like less than a week. But I have not been yet. I've had other stuff to do. So
It's been crazy, I've heard. I had friends that went, I think it was last week, and they
last Wednesday.
3-hour wait. It was like the line was wrapped around completely and it took
Wow.
3 hours to get in. So it's a little, if she said worth it, they waited and they got in and they said it was an absolute blast. So if you don't mind waiting, I'm not a waiter. I don't want to stand in line to get in somewhere or for a ride or anything. I'm the fast pass type of person at a theme park. But if you're one of those people, I've heard it's worth it and a blast.
Yeah, everyone I know that's been has loved it. And they've gotten some really good live music acts too already. So
The owners will get it together.
Oh, absolutely.
They've got a few.
They
know
do.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
But yeah, I have not yet been to Kickers. I know, like I
I
said,
can't wait to check it out either. We haven't been yet either.
Yeah, we'll have to go once, like you said, it's just calm down just a little bit.
It will.
All right, time now for today's Terminix Pests of the Day, as always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They take care of all of the pest control issues at our house. That means we don't have any at Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. Today's Pest of the Day is going to be the fact that we lost Catherine O'Hara. She passed away earlier today. She is best known as the mom in Home Alone, Kevin's mom.
Oh, really?
The one who screams,
Aw.
Kevin!
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I would know her from,
Yeah.
but she's
younger
also been
probably
in-
know Schitt's Creek is what the younger
Okay.
generation probably know
which
her
I never
for.
watched, but that's not because I have anything against it. I just haven't watched it.
Right. Wow, she was great.
So she was
She's
just
fantastic.
71. I don't know yet why
Yeah, I
or
haven't
how
seen
she
what
passed away. I know usually it takes a little while for that
Yeah.
information to come out, but still, that's so sad.
It is super sad.
Yeah, especially when
Also
somebody like
Beetlejuice.
that
Beetlejuice.
left a imprint, obviously, right? You get those, whether it's a music act or an actor or just somebody you meet,
Yeah.
they leave a mark and then they pass like, oh man, I really liked that person.
Oh,
you know, kinda
absolutely.
deal.
Well, and especially if you're one of those people that watches the same movies at Christmas time year
Yeah.
and you're out, like you've seen Home Alone a million times.
That's
I fall in that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Home
her
Alone's
riding in the
iconic.
van.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it's one of the movies that, to your point, I have friends that every single year, at least once, watch Home Alone every single year.
I don't watch it more than once.
Yeah,
I just
have
watch
friends
it
that
once.
are obsessed with that movie.
It's amazing. You look at Joe Pesci from that role to the Goodfellas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the
I know.
casino role. Like, what an actor. You know what I mean?
Slight difference.
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, when
Just a
she's
little.
riding in the van with the polka guys in
yeah.
Home Alone, like
Yeah.
that's a great scene.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I just had to mention that our friend Josh, who works here, brought that up earlier today, and I was like,
Oh,
you know what, that is a good pest of the day.
Yeah,
that
it is.
that we're losing someone who most people, like I said, know as the mom in Home Alone. I was trying to think of her name. Like we know
In
her
the
name in the
movie.
movie, but I couldn't even. Was it
Think if it did it.
Catherine?
I have no idea. I wouldn't.
Well,
I
her
wouldn't-
name's
wouldn't be
Catherine.
able
Is
to
she
pull that
Catherine?
one
True.
up.
That's why I probably have Catherine in my head.
Yeah.
Kate.
Oh, okay. So that's
Kate.
close. That
Kate
is like,
McAllister.
Yeah,
yes, that's right.
That's right.
Yeah, very similar. All right, before we turn it over to the Frangie Show, I was interested to see if any Jaguars had landed on last year's Pete Prisco's Better Than team.
Okay.
And I'm sure I read this at the time, but I did not remember. He had 3 Jaguars on his Better Than team. He had Jonah Monheim, who the Jaguars drafted, obviously the center out of USC. He had Wyatt Milam, the guard/tackle, I'll call him, obviously out of West Virginia, and then also Bayshal Tootin out of Virginia Tech, the running back. So what he says, I'll just read what he says about Tootin, which is he's just under 5'9", but he's solidly built at 218 pounds. The biggest draw is his speed. He ran a 4.32 at the combine, and that speed shows. He's a home run threat every time he touches the football. His low running style allows him to run through tacklers and show he is just more than a speed guy. I'm bringing this up, obviously, because there's been so much conversation about Travis Etienne.
The running backs,
Yeah, not being here. And so I wanted to revisit that just specifically to think, if you just read that, you think, okay, as long as Tootin can handle the ball security side of things, then maybe he can step into the bigger role.
He sees the field really well. He cuts back very well. I think the only thing for me is to make sure he can catch the ball
Right.
good enough, out of the backfield. Because if you're going to take over RB1 in this offense, screens and other things, you got to be on the ball with that. I'm not saying he can't. It just didn't look as smooth as it should, but maybe that gets better as he enters in year 2. But home run hitter, running over guys, seeing the field, and his blitz pickup got better too. They all got better. Etienne's got better. LeQuint was built to do that.
Showed them how to get better.
Yeah,
at
pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
He knew what to do right away.
Taylor,
but,
you saw a stat of how the Jaguars in the second half of the season,
the screens,
they decided to not run as many screens as prior to that.
I was just about to say that because it did stick out to me, and it also made me even more lean into my I don't think you bring Etienne back take, because, and not saying he was the total issue, but you can bring in someone like a Bijan Robinson and a Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are the guys that are so good in that. But it did show from the screen percentage from weeks 1 through 9, 14.2%, which was 6th in the league. And then in weeks 10 through 18, they dropped to 16th. And their EPA ranking of the average depth of target, all of that kind of decreased in the screen percent because they weren't able to do it. And it said Trevor Lawrence finished 45th of 45 quarterbacks in screen completion percentage this last year.
Yeah, but those weeks, their run production, but it's hard to run screens if you're not running because you're not fooling anybody. Like, that's part of the whole deal. Like, you fake them out by running the screen. But if you ain't running the ball, you're not worried about anything. You're just going to wait it out, and they run a screen, you go play the screen. I think that goes hand in hand.
Yeah, but good coaching at least to adjust for sure.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hayes, I'm going to the game on Sunday. Anything I should know as far as Exact Tech Arena, since I haven't been since they renovated?
Just scream real loud. You should be fine. Yeah.
What do you think the Reptiles are going to say to Charles Bediako?
That's a good question. I'm sure it'll be inventive.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a rowdy environment. I mean, look, Alabama is, they're going to be ready. I mean, Todd Golden was like, it doesn't matter if they have him or not.
Right.
We're going to win anyway. And Florida's won 4 in a row in this series. And in doing so, has averaged 102.5 points a game in the 4-game win streak. Wow. So, I mean, Todd Golden has just dissected Nate Oates the last 4 meetings since Golden's had any kind of reputable team. It appears to be a massive coaching mismatch. The game's in Gainesville, so I like Florida, but this is you look at Lenardi's latest projection, Florida's a 3 seed, Alabama's a 5. So, if you want to win the SEC regular season title, if you want to be in Tampa for the first weekend in the NCAA tournament, it's a huge game for Florida, and you can't lose a game that after losing last weekend at home to Auburn,
looking flat.
Golden, talking smack in the media about this game, this opponent. This is a big game for Florida, but I think they'll get it done.
My favorite player is Thomas Houck. Who's yours?
Yeah, Houck's, it's hard to go against Houck. I mean, he's, been incredible all year. I mean, Ruben Chinlilu has really become a favorite as well. How could he not be? He's Mr. Double-Double and his intensity. But yeah, I mean, Tommy Houck, I think, should be first team All-American. I mean, he's just been incredible. So
how could you not?
Yeah, exactly.
How could you not?
Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
But yeah, so all that coming up on the Frangie Show. Pete Prisco will join us at 5:15 to talk Jags and NFL. So it should be a lot of fun.
It's crazy to think football season's still going on, but because we have no football this weekend, it feels so far away.
I know.
I mean, Senior Bowl. We have the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
It'll be here before you.
That's the thing. I agree. Well done. Be here before we know it.
All right. Thanks, Hayes. All right. That'll do it. Everybody have a good weekend.
You too.
Same. Great week.
And by the way, Florida Gymnastics tonight against Arkansas.
Oh, I'll be all over it.
Lock in. For Taylor Dahl, Tom McManus, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you on Monday, but don't go anywhere.